going to scooch back to where you can see me a little bit more in the frame. I did title this one to make it a little bit more backbend friendly. So if you're trying to search through our videos, might help just kind of like getting guidelines with what video you want to go back to. We're going to work on a few progressions to build up to some of these bigger backbend poses. And on the Sunday Zoom call, if there are certain yoga poses or certain backbend series that you want to work on or have a little bit more variety or suggestions on how to get into the posture itself, like different uses of props, ways to get a little different support. If you have somebody that you're rooming with that you've already been quarantined with this whole time, different ways to help get into or have that person help you get into, say, like wheel pose, which can be hard, especially for a lot of CrossFitters, because you need to be able to really open up your chest. We normally have really tight chest and lats, and it still gets your quads too. So I'm going to turn on a little bit of music, and we're going to get started. You will start in a comfortable seat, allowing it to look however it needs to. I'm going to back up just a little bit more here. So you can sit cross-legged, you can sit on your feet. Today, just sitting on my feet feels a little more comfortable for me. And I want you to think about inhaling, filling the chest, filling your belly, getting nice and tall, nice and big. And on your exhale, allowing the shoulders to relax down, hips settle, hands settle. Eyes can close here, or you can take that soft gaze. I have you guys set up to where I can look behind you and I have this beautiful green forest behind, not really forest, nature, something. Protected tree area. There we go. That's the technical term. So I have a nice little view behind you guys as well. As you breathe, allow your mind to give you a body scan. So noticing how your shoulders are feeling, your hips, just noticing yourself settle into your body, taking a step away from whatever to-do list you have for the day. Let's sit cross-legged here now. Whenever I'm teaching a class, I do tend to give an offering, meaning an intention or something I'm personally focusing on. I've done a lot with compassion lately, patience. I'm going to go back with being lighthearted, kind of taking on that childlike wonder and stepping back and not taking everything so seriously. Yes, this is a serious situation. There's a lot of seriousness in the world already. But the thought of being able to laugh is a huge thing for me. Like just being able to laugh through some hard stuff. If that is not what you want your intention to be, you don't have to think about laughter. That's what I'm working on today. You can focus on whatever you need to, taking time for yourself, giving yourself a chance to step back, or it could just be, I need just a movement for about 45 minutes. And that's what your focus is today. As you breathe, seal in whatever your practice is. I am going to offer, I will not be doing this breathing practice because it is hard to do when I talk. If you want to build a little bit more of an internal heat, meaning just wanting to kind of sweat a little bit more, you can work a little bit with some breath work. Taking the Ujjayi breathing, where it's a deep inhale through your nose, slight constriction in the back of your throat, so you're making the sound of the ocean as you inhale. On your exhale, you got that slight pause at the top, same constriction through your nose with the slight pause at the bottom. So I've heard this breathing technique called a couple of different things. You're making the sound of the ocean with your breath, the sound of wind through trees. The one that was always poignant for me is the Darth Vader breath. So whichever image helps you with your breathing, go for it. It lends a nice audible quality to your breath, so you're not holding in poses. You're breathing through each pose. In the seated position, we're just going to intertwine our fingertips. We're going to intertwine our fingers, press our hands up over the head, palms opening up towards the ceiling. Big stretch here. On your exhale, we're going to twist. Bring that left hand to your right thigh. Just a nice gentle twist here. Just something to kind of get your body moving, especially if you've been at a desk or your kitchen table or your living room couch, hunched over a laptop, or maybe reading a book, or maybe hunched over some, I don't know, multiplication tables, however they teach kids multiplication now, as I bumble over my words. Two more breaths here. Big inhale, getting tall on that exhale, twisting a little deeper. Spin around for this next one. So on your inhale, we're going to untwist. We're going to press our arms up overhead. And spin those fingertips in. Give yourself a little back bend here. So we're just here, leaning back ever so slightly, looking. I'm looking at where my wall and my ceiling meet. Come back up. Exhale, twist, bringing that right hand down to your left thigh. Gaze is wherever it's comfortable for you. Because I'm trying to talk forward so you can hear me, I'm going to be looking forward. However, you can bring your gaze over your shoulder. It can bring down to the floor. Whatever's going to make your neck feel nice and happy. When you're ready to unwind, we're going to give you another breath or two. If you want more, take more. Like with any part of your practice, this is your practice. On your inhale, we're going to unwind, big reach up. Another little baby back bend here. So we're just lifting that chest up, nothing super extreme. On your exhale, we're going to come forward, coming into tabletop. So your knees will stack underneath your hip sockets, wrists under elbows, under shoulders. Move through cat and cow here, allowing, going to that side angle, allowing that belly to drop down, tailbone point up, gaze come up, push the ground away from you, head relaxes. Giving yourself that nice big abdominal stretch, pulling those shoulders back on the cow. Maybe deepening cat by coming up onto your fingertips. We're moving to thread the needle. So that right arm is going to reach up overhead. We're getting nice and tall here. Right hand is going to thread behind your left wrist. Shoulder's going to come to the mat or carpet or grass, wherever you're doing this. Head can be heavy here. Left hand can stay planted, or you can slide that left hand long across your mat or wrap it around your low back. Two more breaths. When you're ready to unwind, left hand plants, or bringing that left hand back underneath your shoulder. Press through that left hand. Untwist. Right hand plants, same thing on that left side. So right hand's down, left arm's going to reach up nice and tall, opening up the twist, and then we're going to close it off. Bring that left hand behind your right wrist. Shoulder coming down to the mat. Here may feel good. As you need more, you can reach overhead or wrap your hand around your low back. Breathing here, breathing full, giving maybe a little bit more of a stretch into your back. Exhale, maybe twisting a little deeper. Two to three more breaths here. That right hand's going to come back in under your shoulder. Press through that right hand. Untwist, getting nice and tall here. We're going to move into puppy dog pose. So hips are going to stay stacked underneath. Knees are going to stay stacked underneath your hip sockets. Hands are going to walk out in front of you. Chest sinks down here. If in puppy dog pose you need a deeper stretch, think about pressing through the base of your knuckles to push your chest back towards your thighs. So hopefully you can kind of see the difference here. I'm just kind of chilling out. Now I'm going to press through the base of my knuckles to push my chest back. Chilling out, pressing back. Hands are going to walk to the left. Rib cage is going to push to the right. If you need a deeper twist today, gaze can kind of come underneath your armpit a little bit. Two to three more breaths here. And we're going to switch sides. So hands are going to come through your midline. Walk to the right. Rib cage is going to push out towards the left. Again, if you need a deeper twist, you can look underneath your armpit. Come through your midline, back into that tabletop. We're going to start by just doing a few little wrist circles here. So with these wrist circles, hands plant, weight is going to shift forward. We're going to rotate around. See my hands in this frame. Boom. So we're shifting around, making a big scoop. Boom. You take 10 circles in each direction here. And we'll switch in that opposite direction. Keeping with a little bit of the wrist stretching, fingertips are going to point in towards your knees. Trying to get those palms to stay down on the mat here. You're going to shift your weight right and left, a little like a metronome here. Try to drive the base and that heel of your hand down to the mat. If you need a deeper stretch, hips. Oh, that tastes like pizza. Hips can shift back ever so slightly to deepen that stretch along your forearm. Another 2 to 3 breaths here. When you're ready, we're going to bring the backs of your hands, fingertips still pointing in. You can do one hand at a time or both hands at once. The more you think about straightening your elbows, the deeper sensation you should feel along that front part of your forearm. I'm keeping a soft elbow bend because I don't want to keep my arms completely locked out. It's just not a pleasant sensation for me, so I'm not going to do it. If it feels good for you, you can do it. Undo this. So, sitting back on your heels, we're just going to shake out those wrists. We're going to do the little twinkle fingers that I like to call it. So we're just going to wiggle those fingers out. Bring our hands together. Bring those knuckles together. Elbows as close together as you can make it. We're going to start with circles. Take like 5 circles in one direction. A little pops to my wrist as I do this. 5 circles in that opposite direction. I know, I'm like, we're here, you're going, I thought we were doing back bends. Well, I want your wrists a little more warm to get into a good wheel posture. Now, shake those hands out. We're gonna do those nice little rotations. Elbows are soft here, shoulders are relaxed. So wrist rotations, we're just gonna make some circles here. 3 to 4 in one direction, 3 to 4 in the other. If your wrists are really tight, you're not gonna have an easy time getting into wheel pose. All right, hopefully wrists are feeling a little better. If you wanna give it like a little grab and spin, I'm grabbing onto my wrist. I'm just making a couple circles here, and same thing here. Make sure no one's. We're gonna go on Do Not Disturb so my phone doesn't keep blowing up. Apologies. All right. We're gonna move into down dog. So it's our first down dog here. If you've watched a few of the previous videos, I've talked through different ways to get into it. I'm gonna keep talking through my favorite way if you have really tight hamstrings to get a better push through. And especially since we're focusing on back bends with this session, there's going to be a little less emphasis on trying to straighten your legs and more of an emphasis on pushing your chest back. So, tabletop, toes curl, hips lift, then you are pressing through the base of your knuckles to push your chest back. My knees are still bent here. I'm on my tippy toes. My focus is pressing my chest back. So I'm not in this kind of like almost a U position. I'm thinking pushing the chest back towards the thighs, bending your knees as much as you need to so you can focus on that push back. If you got the mobility, go ahead, straighten those legs, drop those heels. Side effect of being on carpeting, my hands slide a lot. So you're going to see me doing a lot of micro adjustments here. I'm actively pushing through the base of my knuckles, so you're going to get a big stretch in that upper back. Want to roll over into high plank and lower down, knees, chest, and chin, so you look like an inchworm. Pull through for your baby cobra. So we're still progressively moving towards more back bends. Cobra, very little weight in your hands. You're not yanking yourself back as a good way to not have your back go. Thank you. You're thinking of lifting your chest off of the mat. My rib cage is still pressed down to the mat here, or carpet in my scenario. And I'm just thinking of lifting up and pulling myself back ever so slightly. Feet are on the ground here. You can point your toes. Got a little bit of a bum squeeze going on. We're going to exhale, fold forward. We're going to move into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx. Elbows are going to come underneath your shoulders. Palms are down. Boom. Now, this is not an extreme back bend. It's going to get a little bit more into that mid-back area, but you shouldn't feel anything like crazy here. So here, you are pressing through that whole forearm to lift that chest up. Shoulders are rolling down and back. So we're not slumping in here. Pulling down and back, pressing through your forearm, lifting the chest up. Shoulders are pulling down your spine. Gaze is not up here. Gaze is forward or slightly towards the ground. So I'm looking at my baseboards, noticing, all right, I need to clean those baseboards again. 2 to 3 more breaths here. Again, this is not an extreme back bend. This shouldn't feel crazy. It should feel kind of pleasant. On your exhale, we're going to come down. We're going to move into seal pose. So seal, hands are going to make, you're making a Y with your body. I'm trying to angle myself to where you can see me pretty well. I'm coming up onto my fingertips. Shoulders are coming up toward my ears and then down my spine. Here might be enough of a stretch. This is a very passive one. You're thinking about lifting your chest up just like you did in that cobra position. And as you need a deeper stretch, fingertips come in and you press yourself up. So we're pressing more up versus back here. You can shift side to side. On your exhale, we're going to come all the way down onto the mat. Push back into child's pose. So toes are going to come together. Knees are going to come together. Press all the way back into child's pose. Child's pose. Hips come down towards your heels. Chest folds over your knees. Arms reach overhead. Head hangs heavy here. Three to four more breaths here. 3 to 4 more breaths if you couldn't hear me. Come into tabletop, press into down dog. Take a moment here. Notice how your shoulders are feeling. Gaze will come between your fingers. We're going to walk our feet towards our hands. Bend your knees as much as you need to, so coming more from a side angle. Knees are bent because I want to take the pressure out of my upper back. As it feels comfortable, you can straighten those legs. Feels huge hamstring stretch here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, maybe fold a little deeper if you can. And shake your head yes, shake it no. Getting nice and heavy through that upper body. Inhale, halfway lift again. Exhale, fold. And you're going to root to rise. Walk your hands up your legs. Head comes up last. Arms reach up overhead. Big, strong reach. Hands through to heart center. We're going to do a quick little series standing before we move through 2 sun A's. So on your inhale, big lift up. We're going to grab onto this left wrist with our right hand. Shoulders pulled down. Rib cage is not flaring out here. We're tucking that rib cage under. We're pulling the pelvis under. So we're keeping our core nice and tight and strong. Boom. On your exhale, hips are going to shift towards the left. Arms are going to reach to the right. Think about rotating that chest up as if somebody was coming behind you. Hands on your ribs and just opening you up ever so slightly here. When you're ready, we're going to come up. Little baby back bend here, so hands spin in. Pinky fingers are facing each other here. Shoulders pull down. Exhale. Check out that ceiling. Little baby back bend. Nothing crazy here. Back through to heart center. We're going to switch grip. So right hand is going to grab that left wrist. Pull those shoulders down. Keep that core locked down. So we're pulling that rib cage, tucking that pelvis. Shoulder blades are down your back. And we're going to tilt, hips going to the right, arms reaching to the left, rotating that chest open. So we're not collapsing in here. We want a nice big open. Now when you're ready, we're going to come through, heart center, big full reach. Hands through, shake those shoulders out, strong mountain pose. We've talked through Sun A a couple of times. We're going to go through it. I'll talk through one whole Sun A, and then I'm just going to call inhale, exhale, and we can follow along that way. So I'm coming to the side angle so you can see a little better. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, you're going to bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to high plank, move through into your up dog. Thighs are off the ground. Inhale, push back into down dog. Gaze comes forward. Inhale, bending those knees. Exhale, make your way to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach to rise. Head comes up last. Big, strong reach up overhead. Hands through heart center. So we're going to move with breath here. So the movement's going to be really quick. On that exhale transition into that chaturanga up dog, you step back to plank or you shoot your feet back to land automatically in chaturanga. So what I'm going to walk myself through. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time through. I'm going to use that swan variation because I'm particularly fond of it. So inhale, exhale. I'm going to swan dive forward versus folding forward. Chest leads, chest leads, chest leads. Inhale. Exhale, bending, planting and jumping. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, bend knees. Exhale. Top of the mat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Relax. Shake it out. If you want to, we could do that 2 more times. I'm just going to keep us moving through and towards some bigger and bigger back bends. So we will be using flow throughs as a way to continue to move and continue to get your arms a little warmer, quads a little warmer. So we're going to go for a flow through, getting ourselves into down dog. Big chest, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bending, planting your hands and feet. Jumping back, pull through. Down dog. Right foot is going to step through between the hands. We're going low lunge here. Boom. Hitting a good low lunge, meaning it feels good before you start to make adjustments. Pull my right hip back, push my left hip forward. Keeping my pelvis tucked under, so I'm not like dumping everything out. Boom, rib cage is pulled down. Reach up. Here, I'm gonna throw in a little back bend. So I'm reaching up before bending back. Three more breaths here. We're going to fold forward, half split. So if you have watched a few of the videos already, you can bring your hips towards your heels, turn this into a runner's lunge. We're going for hamstring here. You can also use a block to bring the world closer to you. I'm not going to use one today. I'm going to flex my toes towards my face, focus really on folding my chest over my leg. So my back is trying to stay as neutral as possible here. Three more breaths. Thinking about inhaling, getting big, exhale, folding down a little more. When you're ready, weight shift forward. We're not going to do that crazy flow through I tend to make us do. Toes going to curl under. We're going to press back into a plank. Lower all the way onto your belly here. Control that lower. Control that lower. Boom. Twisted cross here. Left hand's going to plant. Right arm's going to go long. We're going to roll over that right shoulder. As we're rolling, if we want more, left leg comes over. Maybe your right leg comes over. It's going to be a lot of stretch in that arm area. Like I'm getting a little more bicep in front of my shoulder. Sometimes I get more chest. It just depends on whatever's feeling tightest at any given moment. We're going to unwind. Legs are going to come over first. I'm going to slide my right hand in. Left arm's going to go long. I'm going to roll over that left arm. Two to three more breaths here. Left leg's going to go long. Right leg's coming over. I'm coming all the way back onto my belly. We're going to push back into a child's pose. We're going to keep the knees together here. Unless you really need to get deep into your hips. I just want to kind of counter stretch your back as many times as I can because we're doing a lot of backward bending. So having something to fold over, feet together, knees together, hips push back. Boom. Just a few breaths here, more to help stretch out your back than anything else. We shouldn't be completely out of breath yet. I'm just a little sweaty because I get sweaty very easily. Into that tabletop. And we're going to bring our hips down, coming into a seated position. So we're going to set up for camel, and there's a couple of different variations of camel. I do highly suggest padding your knees for this. So if you are on a mat, you can just fold that mat up. I'm not using a mat, so I'm going to take my handy dandy towel that has been hanging around since the start of quarantine because, I've cleaned this area a lot, but I use this stuff frequently. So, boom. Your knees are going to come onto that. We're going to think about lifting yourself up. I'm going to grab a book just to keep close by to show you a variation. So we're going to think about lifting ourselves up here. In this position, you want to think about not letting that butt tooch out or pulling that pelvis underneath. Hands are going to come to your low back. So my fingertips are pointing down here. If you've got the wrist mobility, you can point up. That's a personal preference. So we want to think about lifting ourselves up and just starting to fold backward, chest towards the ceiling, head starting to drop back here. So, if you notice, I brought a couple of books to keep them close by. If I'm in this position here and I can start to lean back, maybe put my fingers on a block, maybe I don't need it at all, and my hands come to my heels. This is a big stretch here. Hips are open. As you need to back out, you don't have to be as deep. Another couple breaths, finding whichever variation of camel you need today. And we're going to walk ourselves up, getting tall again. Hips are going to come down towards your heels. Now you can take this back into a child's pose to help stretch out your back. Another variation that I'm very fond of is rabbit pose. Rabbit pose is kind of hard to talk through because my head is essentially going to be staring like into my chest. But I'm going to try and talk through it the best I can. We're on your heels. Hips are going to lift up. Crown of your head is going to come down. Hands are going to reach back for your ankles. So if you're like me, my hands get a little sweaty. I'm grabbing my handy dandy towel again. And I'm going to bring it behind my feet. And that's what I'm going to grab. I'm going to pull on my feet or on my towel. Crown of my head is barely touching it. It's like if you were a Sims character, that's what's on the ground, that little Sims dot or Sims diamond, whatever it's called. And I'm going to lift my hips as I pull back on my towel or on my heels. Two more breaths if you can manage here. And then we're going to release. Hands are going to come down by my head. I'm just gently going to push myself up again. So camel and rabbit are a big progression. I will say with camel pose, it is much easier to have like appropriate yoga blocks because you can flip them up on that higher end on either side of you to really focus on pushing through your blocks and opening up your chest. Rabbit pose, if it's not comfortable for you, so I don't find it particularly comfortable as much as I like it. So it puts a lot of pressure like on my chest from having some chest area. If you need to counter pose camel, you do not always have to do rabbit pose. You can go for a child's pose. We just want something that takes you from that big arch up into something that allows your body to be relaxed and to help stretch your spine in that opposite direction. So, hips are going to come down. Boop. Feet are going to spin around out in front of you. I'm going to do a little bit more work here. I am going to try and get us into wheel today as well. So, that's always a super fun one to get into. We're coming all the way onto your back here. You do need to set up with at least one set of bridge. Move some of my extra books that I use for blocks and reading out of the way. So, feet are hips width distance apart. Feet are in towards your bum. Back comes down. We do glute bridges all the time at the gym. We're going to do bridge almost the exact same way, except our hands are going to come down by our sides. Fingertips not quite touching your heels yet. Chin will stay tucked because we don't want to be looking in directions and putting extra strain on your neck. That's no good. So chin tucks, hips lift, and a way to take this a little further is your elbows can walk underneath you as well as your shoulders, hands clasp on the mat, and you can press through your fists to lift up a little higher. In this position, imagine that you're holding a block between your knees, or actually hold a block between your knees to help keep them from splaying out to the side. So keeping the knees tight, chin tucked. When you're ready, shoulders come out, elbows come out from underneath you. Lower that upper, mid, and low back down to your mat. Knees come into your chest. Give yourself a hug here. We can set up for second set bridge. Side effect of a lot of delivery drivers is the dog likes to notify us that they're here. What's up, babe? So, setting up for bridge. I'm going to spin myself in a very awkward angle, so you're going to see me from a very upside down position. Yeah, you should see me fine from here. Feet are in that same position. Hands are going to come down by your ears, fingertips pointing in towards your shoulders. You want to try and keep your elbows pinched close together, so like you're trying to hold them together rather than letting your elbows splay out to the side and the weight come onto the outside of your hands. You're going to lift to the crown of your head first. Readjust, press all the way up here. So, I can't do that awkward exorcist thing where I walk to the side. To show you a side angle, feet are in here, hands are down. I'm lifting to the crown of my head first. Boom. And then I'm pressing through my hands to push all the way up. Now, I'm imagining someone is pulling me by a string that is at the base of my sternum and pulling me forward. Couple breaths here. Break when you're ready, lowering with control. Bring your head down. Upper, mid, lower back, high, low. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug here. If you have a dog checking on you, pet your dog. Give her a little smush. Feet are going to come down. We're going to drop our knees side to side here. So we're just going to help loosen up the back a little bit. I'm going to pet my dog because she's being really cute. Oh, some dinky dog breath. That's not cute. Hi. Let's take this into a happy baby. Knees are going to come in towards your armpits. Hands, and if you've taken a class with me, and say hands reach wherever it's comfortable. You can grab outside edges. You can grab around your shins, around your ankles, around the outside edges of your feet. Peace sign fingers can loop your big toes. You can play with all of them to see what feels better. And I'm just rocking back and forth. Most people have seen a kid get really happy when they first grab their feet. That's what we're going for, just nice and light. You can turn this into a straddle happy baby to get a little bit more of an inner thigh stretch. And I'm going to spin around so you can see. So I'm coming here. Left leg can extend long. Maybe right, maybe both at the same time. So my knees are straight and I'm pulling back on my toes, or you can grab your feet, pull back on your feet. Nice inner thigh stretch here. Knees come back into your chest. Give yourself a hug here. Wherever you're at, when it comes to laying on your back, we're going to do a little drill that I've done in class before. I'm going to stretch everything out. And on your inhale, I want everything to get tight. Arms can reach up overhead, or your hands can stay down by your side. But stretch everything up on your inhale. Getting nice and tight, furrowing your brow. And on your exhale, release it out. Feel your hands release down, your feet relax. Next inhale, we're tightening up everything again. Squeezing my toes, squeezing my fists together, squeezing my bum. On your exhale, Release it all. One more time, tightening up everything on that inhale, so squeezing your fists. Bye, Willow. Squeeze your legs together, toes are pointing, brows furrowing. Exhale. Release it all down. Hands can stay over your head or they can come down by your side. No tension in your feet. Your feet are kind of splaying off to the side. Knees are dropping to the side. Shoulders are relaxed down to the mat. Head is supported here. And like how we started with, you guys can stay on your backs. I'm just sitting up so you can hear me a little better. As we have started class, on your inhale, give yourself a nice big body scan. See what's feeling maybe a little lighter, a little more open. Come back to whatever intention you possibly set. If you set an intention and if you didn't, that's cool too. On your exhale, feel everything release, the chest relax, your chest relaxing, your hips relaxing, legs are relaxed here. Notice if you were holding tension somewhere, on your inhale, notice that little tension point, like maybe your low back's a little tight. On your exhale, think about just relaxing it. Just relaxing the back down to the mat. See all my crazy hair from doing back bends? If it is comfortable for you, you may push yourself into a comfortable seat or you can stay on your back. And just take a few moments to kind of process everything that we just did. Maybe taking notes on what you want to play with a little more. So maybe on that Sunday Zoom call, we have something that you want to work on. I'm going to try and make Sundays a little bit more student guided. Like, hey, I want to work on this thing. And I'm going to close class. If you need to hang out, you hang out. If your kids or dogs will let you hang out, hang out. Bring your hands together. You're going to start at your forehead for kind thoughts, your mouth for kind words, and your heart for good intentions. Thank you for letting me guide your practice today. Hopefully you come back to this video at some point and play with more back bends because they can be a lot of fun. See you Friday night. Awkwardly come up to the computer.